what we have to say today. So just a reminder, please, please, please mute your phones. I do not enjoy yelling at people for not muting your phones, and I don't think anyone enjoys when we can't hear what information is going on. So please mute your phones. As always, we do have the chat box open for questions. However, we will start with the questions we received ahead of time, and we received many of them. So if we have time, we'll get to those chat box questions as time allows. But we will, as we always do, go through the questions we've received ahead of time first. We will start the same way we always start, and we will start with Commissioner Turner, kind of kicking it off and giving us the information we need to know for this week. So thank you. Commissioner.
Thanks, Karen. Good morning, everyone. I hope you guys have all had a productive week and were able to enjoy a good 4th of July with family and friends last weekend. Again, appreciate everyone being here. Obviously, much different tone and tenor in this meeting than it was last week, but one thing that I want you to take away from this is still an opportunity for engagement, and if not, even more engagement and conversation and dialogue around what things are going to look like and what sort of programs we want to be able to develop. I am very excited about the possibility and the potential of what's going to happen. We've been enjoying a great relationship with TennCare. They've been good partners with us as we've been navigating some of what this announcement's going to look like. And I want you to know that we're working very closely with them, walking hand in hand and making sure that we continue to develop a program that supports all individuals and all abilities at a very high level. So as we continue to have these conversations, I want you to know that we're not going to have all of the answers right now. But down the road, hopefully we're going to have more and more answers for you, because it's still very early on in the process. Obviously, this was just announced this week. Some of the questions that you might have today or might have submitted previously, we still don't have full answers for. But what the commitment is to continue to try to be as open as we can in the dialogue and make sure that you continue to share information with us, that you feed us thoughts, that you feed us ideas that you might have, and continue to share with us what that looks like from your world. Because at the end of the day, what we want to do, and I know what TennCare wants to do, is continue to develop good partnerships all across the state to make sure that we're providing the types of supports that are necessary, and that the individuals that we support are proud of, to allow them to live the types of lives that they've envisioned for themselves. So if you do have questions today that are submitted in the chat box, or that you've submitted previously through the email, and we have to tell you that we don't know the answer, I want you to know that that's sincere. We just don't know what it's going to look like yet, because it's so early in the process. So just bear with us, and I'd like to ask you to make sure that you extend us some grace and some patience as we're navigating this, because this is going to be a huge undertaking for all of us. Change can be very scary, and I understand that. I want to be empathetic with what might happen with each one of your organizations and with the individuals that are involved in that. But sometimes our greatest growth comes in the form of challenges and circumstances and tough times like this pandemic and changes in the system. So I want us to continue to commit to each other that we're going to work together, and that we're going to continue to find ways to partner together. It's easy to become cynical. It's easy for us to become very challenged in our approaches and our perspectives and our attitudes. And the one thing that I think all of us can control in this, myself included, is my attitude and how I project for myself and how I carry myself through very challenging changes. I can control my attitude, and that's the one thing that I always enter the room with and I always exit the room with, is what did I do to try to make myself better, make those around me better. So I'm excited about this. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. I'm looking forward to working with you. But most importantly, I'm looking forward to Tennessee continuing to move forward with TennCare and with DIDD being the envy of the country and how we're delivering services to individuals that we support. So with that, Carol, I'll turn it back to you, and look forward to trying to answer some of the questions.
All right, wonderful. And so just kind of to recap where we are, as you know, we announced on Wednesday morning that TennCare and DIDD are working together to create a single seamless system for persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities that will encompass the 1915C waivers, Employment and Community First Choices program, and the private intermediate care facilities for persons with intellectual disabilities into the managed care program, all under the direct operational leadership of DIDD. We're very excited to get to do this work, and we're very committed to hearing from all of you and receiving all of that feedback that we know that you have. We already have received many questions. So as I start to go through the questions, one of the things that I want to do is mention that we got many questions that were of the same, they were basically the same question. So if you don't hear your specific question, you're going to hear something that sounds like your question, because I'm not going to for every time that somebody asks a question about ISC services. Rather, we'll talk just in general about ISC services. So just wanted to let you all know that as we embark on this. So I will start with that first question. We got several questions about what does this integration mean for independent coordination services. And so I will turn that over to Jordan to start and kind of tell folks what we know right now.
Thanks, Tara. Good morning, everybody. Obviously, a pretty exciting day for the department and the system as a whole, in our opinion. So as it pertains, I think, to the response that we're going to have to offer for a lot of these questions here on the front end, I'll start by saying that a lot of this stuff will be decided in the weeks to come. I think that this opportunity, the opportunity for alignment, the opportunity to take a really deep dive into all of the processes that both govern, but most importantly, support people receiving services across all HCBS programs. It's our duty as a community to look at each and every one and ensure that we're giving it its due diligence in whether or not those systems are effective, where we can delete redundancies, where we can improve processes. A couple of things that are true today, were true yesterday, and certainly will be true tomorrow about support coordination and case management is the department firmly holds to the value that case managers in any system play a preeminent role. The ability of ISCs and case managers to understand services, explain packages of services, and then help direct people supported and families to the supports that will most effectively lead them to their goals of independence is a very, very important role. It's played an important role in our history, and it will play an important role in our future. And so I think to the extent that we remain committed to independent, conflict-free case management, that we very much look forward to sitting down with the ISC agencies, certainly speaking with our own case management divisions within the self-determination program and figuring out how we can all together best assure that people receiving services in the current and future systems are getting access to the very best information, being provided with everything that they need to make the decisions that they're choosing for their own future.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jordan. Our next question revolved around the CAC waiver, and will persons in the CAC waiver still be subject to an aggregate spending cap, or will individual spending caps be imposed? And will the current supported living staffing levels still be met? Jordan, do you want to take that question as well?
Sure. Thanks, Tara. There's quite a bit in that one. So first and foremost, again, at the risk of sounding redundant, what I would say is that we'll be examining across all programs, the 1915C waiver, the ECF waiver, and certainly pulling in information from the broader community as a whole as we begin to make decisions about what the future might look like. In the immediate, I think that the amendment process for the 1915C waiver is first up, and we will consider, I think, services in the same way that we have, at least initially. In the future, I think that making determinations about benefits amounts certainly is going to be a topic of conversation. The preeminent goal, I think, across the entire system in future state, in current too, but in future state for sure, is to assure that we're being as conscious and as appropriately pointed as we can to ensure that funds are spent, every penny is spent for the greatest impact, and certainly with an eye toward being able to redirect funds to address the 6,000 people not currently receiving services. And so if in the future benefit allotments need to be adjusted, then that's a decision that we'll make as a community, and certainly we'll do so in the interest of ensuring that we can spread services across all in Tennessee that are in need.
Thank you. And Jordan, please stay on because I'm going to ask you to answer the next question. It's one also about, will the proposed integration recognize that there are some persons for whom work is not a goal? Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah, I think that again, one of the goals of the current program certainly, but more importantly, and pointed in this question toward future programs, is that we're providing a menu of services that meet people where they are, with the expectation that we're also providing them with the opportunity to propel themselves forward in whatever way they feel appropriate. A lot of times that means making sure that folks understand the availability of supports that can help them achieve goals, can help them achieve independence. Unabashedly, I'll tell you personally that I don't believe there's a person in our system that is incapable of work. In fact, I think a lot of us, most of us, in fact, have seen that people with varying degrees of disability, some on the most extreme end of the spectrum, in fact, are gainfully employed today. So personally, I feel like everyone should at very least have the opportunity to understand that work and integration and independence is, in fact, an achievable outcome for them. That said, for persons that are not there yet, or for people that continue to need additional information or may be uninterested, then certainly the system will continue to meet them where they're at, and we'll provide for a package of services that allows them to be safely supported. I will say that intentionally, as we do today, and certainly as we'll do tomorrow, that the expectation is going to be that those around them in their circle are providing them the ability to make informed choices about their own future. And so we will continue to highlight that through the person-centered planning process. Certainly there are agencies across our network now who have committed to that proposal. There are person-centered organizations that have come online recently, and some that have been certified for quite some time, all of whom would agree that persons are capable sometimes of more than they even dream for themselves in the beginning. But in an environment of informed consent, people typically achieve more than they anticipated they might be able to before they knew what was available.
Thank you very much, Jordan. I'm going to turn the next question over to Commissioner Turner. We got several questions related to budget items, including the family support program and other budget-related items. So, Commissioner Turner, do you just want to talk in a little bit kind of about where we are with all of that?
Yeah, that's good. Thank you, Kara. And obviously that's a big question, and I do not have any new update from last week, but I just want to drive home a couple points to you again, that everyone needs to continue to the way that you're working inside your provider network and inside your organization. Please continue to do so, because the stories that you're sharing with us allow us to be able to tell your story back to the governor's office and to the legislature. And again, I want to drive home the point that we are not going into these conversations passively. We're going into this on the offensive, and we've already made that very clear, and that's the direction that we intend on continuing to go, is making sure that we can fight for every single support program and service in any area of opportunity that allows our individuals to thrive. We're going to fight for that. So while there's no specific updates that I can provide to you, I want you to know that our attitude has not changed on that, and that when that time comes to be able to share that information with you, know that in good faith and in good conscience, we went in there swinging to try to protect the people that we care about the most. So I don't have an ETA on when I can share anything with you, but I just want you to know that that is at the very front of what we're trying to do holistically around saving every dollar that we can to make sure that the dollars that we have are going to support individuals from a programmatic perspective, but also opportunities for them in the community to be able to work at a very high level in whatever manner that they choose. So we will continue to keep you updated on what that looks like, but I don't have anything right now that I can share that's a final answer.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Turner. We had a question about one of the strategic objectives is to support the independence, integration, and competitive integrated employment of individuals with IDD. What role does VR play in this objective, as well as to assist in this goal? Jordan or Commissioner, if you would like to take a kind of explain that, that would be great.
Yeah, I'll start, Kara, real quick, and then I'll pivot to Jordan. So VR obviously is going to play the same role that it has in the past. I mean, that's a program that I've got a lot of respect for because I think there's significant value that they deliver to our network. And I think what we need to continue to do is figure out ways on how we continue to do a better job, myself included, on making sure that we integrate those conversations into the bigger network and what that looks like inside DIDD and inside TennCare. To make sure that we're getting the maximum amount of value that we can from VR, because it's got a significant value all across the state and all across our network. And so we're going to continue to figure out ways to make sure that that's incorporated into the program as a whole. So from a leadership perspective, I want you to know that we're going to continue to look at that and keeping an eye on that and figuring out ways that we can continue to partner to make VR be the best that they can be. Jordan?
Yeah, thanks, Commissioner. And the only thing that I would add to that is that we continue to meet with VR. You know, there are several byproducts of this announcement and the alignment process that are ultimately going to benefit people supported in the system as a whole in ways that we've yet to ever be able to harness here in the state of Tennessee. And in fact, in a lot of ways, the nation has failed to harness, I believe, what is now within our grip. But we're meeting with the vocational rehab, the Department of Mental Health, every stakeholder that has direct contact or input into providing an effective continuum, a pathway for people to become employed, maintain employment, and then advance in their careers. We continue to ensure that that funding and that pathway is graded, is seamless to the person supported, and this alignment, I think, affords an additional opportunity. There's already letters of agreement and memos or memorandums of understanding between the different divisions here in the state of Tennessee, and this alignment only further strengthens those agreements. So VR plays a role, obviously, in pushing the agenda of the department and the HCBS system as a whole, which is to provide employment opportunities for all who want them. And we will continue to hold them very close and walk hand in hand with them to ensure that that continuum of service is as seamless as possible for people supported.
All right, wonderful. We got several questions about provider stakeholder involvement and what the level of that will be when talking about this new aligned system. First, I'm going to start with Commissioner Turner to talk about our commitment to stakeholder involvement.
Yeah, thanks, Kara. And Kara basically just said it right there. I mean, our commitment to stakeholder involvement is concrete. We can't do this without you, and we can't do this without the engagement of the network, the families, the individuals that are involved in all of our support programs. It's critical because what we want to do is make sure, you've heard me say it before, that the individuals that, we don't want to be their voices. We just want to be their megaphone because they already have something to say. So I take that into any of our meetings as well, that we want to make sure that stakeholder involvement is there, provider involvement is there, person supported. We're going to obviously be very closely involved with our friends at TennCare and their contributions because we've got a long-standing, solid relationship with them, and they've got a number of experts in their areas that are going to be important as well. Our friends from the legislature, we want to make sure that at the end of the day that we've got all of the voices that need to be in the room are going to be in the room and they've been heard. And then as we build the program and move forward, we all have a unified voice on what this program looks like and that everyone feels like they've had an opportunity to contribute. So I'm excited about that because we need stakeholder engagement. We can't do this without you, and we can't do this without any of the stakeholders. So as we move forward, we're going to have programs and plans in places around opportunities to engage each of the stakeholders to contribute in a meaningful way.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I also echo that. One of the things I'll let you know is that we will be having a form for feedback coming up fairly shortly within the next few days. Obviously, because of the COVID-19 situation, there are restrictions on holding meetings where we would have probably done that in the past. But, a real benefit of this is we've been hearing about what you all want in an aligned system through a variety panels for a while. One of the things that I think has been extremely fortunate has been the State Transformation Leadership Group meetings that I and some others from DIDD sit on with providers, some families, as well as the MCOs. And we all talk about what are the things we want to see in an aligned system to really make a difference in the goals and outcomes we want to see. So we have been hearing that feedback for a while, and we will continue to hear that feedback. I think one of the things about all of us at DIDD is we do try to be as open and as accessible as possible. So, and we always want people to feel free to share their thoughts and views with us. So, continue to do that. Y'all have never been shy about doing that before, so we hope that you will continue to do that as we look at a system that will really transform and move outcomes and goals and independence and integration forward for people with disabilities. We're really excited about that. Okay, let me look at the next question. So the next question is about when the waivers merge, how will the billing process take form? Will it be billed in the current PCP and ECF platform used by the MCOs or a new system? Jordan, I don't think we've gotten that far, but I'll just turn it over to you to make sure.
Yeah, thanks, Tara. That certainly those are considerations that we're working through right now. I will tell you that this system and the process of alignment allows all of us, not just the department, but I think the managed care organizations, certainly the network as a whole. It allows all of us to examine how we're doing business today and how we may be able to do business more efficiently or divert resources to different areas of the total purview. And certainly billing is one of those. There's duplicative processes right now. One of the catalysts for this alignment process is to be able to streamline to the extent that we can, reducing administrative burden for agencies, but also reducing administrative burden on the system as a whole, and the department is included in that. And so as we work through each of those decisions, what we're going to do is come to the decision that makes the most sense ultimately for the end user. And in this case, that is defined as provider agencies submitting billing. So in the event that we're able to capture some efficiencies and utilize resources in a different way and still accomplish the goal as well or perhaps better, then we'll take that advantage.
Thanks a lot, Jordan. And it's funny when you were talking, I remember for those of us who were around 6-7 years ago when employment and community first choices was coming, I remember sitting in the stakeholder meeting and hearing from that point on and then continuing to hear about the administrative burden and doing the same thing in 4 different systems. And that's one of the things we've heard and we think that we're really going to be able to make an impact on is reducing that burden, reducing those duplicative processes, and some of those requirements that have been spread upon 3 MCOs and DIDD and really looking to streamline those processes. Okay, so we are done with the questions that we received ahead of time. I will start to go through some of the questions that I've got in chat box. We already answered about the budget and the family support program. Will the public ICFs go under the MCO system? Jordan, do you want to talk about the ICF role here?
Sure. So the ICF system, again, in concert with the previous statements, the fact that we've got the ability now to align all support systems, all services impacting people with intellectual and developmental disabilities under one umbrella, if you will, gives us the same opportunity with ICF services that we have within the HCBS system. And while we don't have answers yet as to how or when or the specifics relative to the private versus the public ICF system, what I can tell you is that we're committed to ensuring that ICF beds and the services supported in the ICF program are appropriately aligned with the needs of people supported and the needs of the system as a whole. So it's too early to give any definitive response right now on the public or the private ICF system, but I can tell you that we can only derive additional advantage from this alignment and having it all sit in one place, and then developing processes that align most importantly with the needs of the community as a whole. And the ICF system, we feel like, is a very important cog in that wheel.
Great. Some of the benefits under, this is the next question. Some of the benefits under the ECF and choices waivers, adult daycare assisted living, aren't currently administered by DIDD. Will DIDD be administering these benefits as well? Will the current covers benefits for the other waiver programs continue to be offered? So I'm not sure exactly whether I'm going to answer this question completely, but I will turn it over to Jordan to talk a little bit about this.
Hey, Kara, this is Jordan. Can you read it again? I'm sorry, my screen froze up and I can't move the chat box down. Read it again, please.
No problem. Basically, some of the benefits under ECF choices, adult daycare and assisted living, aren't currently administered by DIDD. Will DIDD be administering these benefits as well? And will the current covered benefits for the other waiver programs continue to be offered?
Okay, so I think what the question is answering or is asking is whether or not the new program system, the system yet to be developed, but eventually to be developed and implemented across all of HCBS, will it offer the same package of services as are currently available in both the ECF and the 1915C program? And again, I think that it's a little bit too early for us to comment with any degree of specificity on the benefits that will be offered in that the new single program. I can say that the department is wholly committed, as is the Division of TennCare and the managed care organizations, to ensuring that people are provided opportunities to be as integrated and independent as they possibly can. And the development of benefits within that program structure will all be pointed very specifically at personal achievement. If stakeholder feedback indicates to us that persons would prefer services in centers as opposed to services in communities, then that'll be a discussion that we derive from that feedback.
Okay, the question is will the MCOs keep ECF or will this go through the DIDD ISCs and case managers? Can somebody who is not muted, by the way, please mute? Just as a reminder, if we know who you are, we will mute you. If you unmute yourself, we will mute you again. And if you continue to unmute yourself, well, we do have we've never had to use it before, but we do have the ability to expel people from this meeting. So anyway, the question was, will the MCOs keep ECF or will this go through the DIDD ISCs and case managers? Can you answer this question, please, Jordan?
Sure. So the predominant goal, obviously, of this alignment system is to bring everything into, if you will, a single lane. And so all services eventually will be administered through direct contract between the department and TennCare, and then joint contracts with the managed care organizations, and all services being filtered down through managed care to the network, and eventually, as we've discussed already this morning, a single package of services reaching the end user and people supported. So the answer to that question, I guess, is fairly broad, in that all services at the completion of this, all services will be provided within the same environment, and that will be down through the managed care environment under the oversight and management of the department. So in short, I guess the answer is yes, but certainly in a different way than they're received today. Services in the ECF program and the 1915C program alike will be all administered through the same avenue, if you will.
Okay, we have a question. It's what is the status of QA surveys right now? Are they being held and has the format changed? We do have Pat Nichols, our Assistant Commissioner of Quality Management, on the line, so she'll discuss that.
Good morning, everybody. What great questions we're getting this morning. With regard to QA surveys currently, there are some surveys that are being conducted. We are able to do those remotely for the most part. We are have moved through our process of conducting some of our waiver record reviews and have the majority of those completed for the year. We're doing the things we can do given the circumstances we're working under. So everyone, if we can be patient, we are looking at an adjusted survey process to introduce before too much longer. And once that is put together and finalized and has the sign off from Commissioner Turner, we will be notifying people that are affected by those the survey process. Those people that haven't been surveyed for 2020. So just to summarize, we do have a process that we're trying to put in place, and we'll be making sure that everyone is aware of it with plenty of time to prepare for the process. Kara?
Wonderful. The next question we have is, under the new aligned system, will credentialing remain the same for ECF services? For example, we are credentialed to provide Group 8 services and therefore have specific staffing requirements. Will the MCOs continue to monitor this? Jordan, you want to kind of discuss this for a little while?
Sure. So again, I'm really feeling like a broken record to some extent, but provider credentialing, provider qualification, network development, network management, these are all areas that we see an opportunity to really derive some efficiency. One of the things that we've heard from providers since the launch of the ECF program is maintaining multiple different credentialing processes is obviously and intuitively very burdensome. And so this will be an area that we focus on, pretty quickly as we move to the concurrent authority and get the waiver amendment submitted and assume this single system approach. And just like in other areas where there are duplicative burdens, the goal here is to make things as streamlined and efficient as possible to be able to now strip away some of the kind of long-held administrative processes resultant from years and years of litigation. We finally have the opportunity to look at that as a whole and ask ourselves as a community, network providers, stakeholders, department, MCO, and TennCare alike, does this continue to make sense? And where it doesn't make sense, then we need to go ahead and get rid of it. The end game is to make things as efficient as possible in hopes that through that efficiency that we can improve network health, certainly improve network viability, and then grab as many funds as possible to redirect into additional services. What we want to do is be able to approach the 6,000 people waiting for services right now and say, your time's come, we've got something for you. And how we achieve that was not by having to continually go back to the legislature and the governor's office and ask for additional money, but in fact, we've created those resources by aligning systems, by removing things that don't make sense that were put into the system by virtue of conditions no longer present. And will we be able to pull that off in totality? I don't know, but I know for sure that that's our goal with this. That was a driver and a catalyst for this move, and we're pretty optimistic about what we might be able to achieve.
Thank you. And first of all, thank you all so much for the majority of you have been asking questions, and they have been really wonderful and very interested. I will make note that there is absolutely no reason to be rude. We are doing our best to answer questions, and if we have moved away from a question, it's because we might not have the people on hand right now who may be on annual leave. to discuss that question, and that's why we're not answering those questions at this time, but we will work to get an answer for you. We appreciate all of your respect. We hope that we're treating you with respect through this process as well. Any update on homebound services extension past 7/30/2020? Jordan, kind of want to talk where we are with homebound right now?
Sorry, couldn't get to my mute button. Yeah, so I guess consistent with the conversation we had last week and the week before, we're evaluating the need to continue services or the availability of services in the home as we continue to look at the data on a day-by-day basis. As we've done in the past, since March, we'll make a determination closer to the time of expiration, and then we'll communicate that determination system-wide in the same way we have in the past. The only other thing that I'd add to this, and certainly it's a disclaimer I add each time we address this topic, is the Division of TennCare, the Department of Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities, and the administration as a whole is first and foremost interested in making sure that we're supporting people through this pandemic in the safest way possible. We'll continue to do that throughout the duration of this crisis, and we'll all continue to keep an eye toward the day where the crisis recedes and we can kind of get back to some degree of normal business. But between now and then, we're going to make sure people are safe, and we're going to make sure people also have the choice to engage in an informed way in their communities where it's appropriate.
Okay, let's see. What have we got right now? What will the behavioral mental health crisis services look like? Jordan, and then I know we have Dr. Davis on the line as well. So does one of you want to start that and the other one want to finish that?
Kara, this is Jordan. I'll certainly yield to Dr. Davis on the response to this one.
Yeah, so we're still waiting final approval of the budget to be able to move forward on this program. However, we are actively planning forward for this. We expect to establish over the course of the next 6 months 5 teams across the state in many of the major metropolitan areas. When I say we're establishing them in those areas, they're virtually arranged around those areas. And we will be able to serve the entire state with the program. Ultimately, we'll also be working with START. We've contracted with them to provide training for our staff in this program, thanks to a grant that we received from the DD Council. And so we're very appreciative of them for assisting us in arranging for that training. And so we will be moving forward. We have submitted job descriptions to the Department of Human Resources for this, and so we're actively moving to move forward more. So that's where we are at the present moment with this. This, I think, is going to be a great service. We've already met with all crisis units across the state to begin our development of memorandums of understanding with them. I just had a meeting yesterday with the head of mental health, Mike Dietrich, for the Tennessee Hospital Association. So we'll be working actively with hospitals to try to get services available to people with IDD when they need them. We're also we're going to actually be meeting right after this with regional mental health institutes on the same issues. So we're moving forward. I think it's going to be a great program. I expect that we will probably be working in earnest somewhere around January 1st of 2021. So, we've got a rough 6 months ahead of us getting this thing established, but that's where we are with it at the present moment. Carol?
Dr. Davis, I am going to ask line because going through the chat box, we actually have a couple of questions regarding the testing that we're doing. As we all know, COVID is still very much with us at this point in time. Does DIDD have a plan to address staff testing? And I know that has been something that you have been working diligently on over the past few weeks. So if you want to kind of give an update on that, that would be great.
Yeah, I've been in communication with Tennessee Department of Health. We we had said that we wanted agencies to rely on their local health departments for testing. I'm aware that that has become somewhat onerous because there are lots of delays in getting results back from the local health departments right now. They've been a bit overwhelmed. That's a problem that can't be resolved easily because the testing is really ramping up at this point. I have been working on some solutions with Tennessee Department of Health, and there is a proposal that it's in development at the moment for a way that we might be able to resolve that problem and help agencies become more independent in that. But I can't give you any information about that right now until we get that a little bit more solidified. So I will say that we are going to discuss all matters relating to COVID on the Clinical Consultation Network next Tuesday at 12:30 Central Time. We're going to actually go over a lot of the data that we've collected that would help agencies in developing their testing program as they go forward. And we will also maybe have a little bit more information that we can supply to you regarding this proposal that I'm talking about. So we're working on it and going to do everything we can to support agencies in getting a valid testing program together, because we are going to be living with this for a while longer. And I actually, to say that it would maybe be next summer before we're going to be past this and not having to think about COVID anymore, I think is, whether we'll ever be where we're not thinking about it anymore, I don't know. But at least to where we can be back to some semblance of normal, I think is a valid thing. The aspect of this, as it relates to the increase in cases that we're having right now, I think that it requires agencies to really be thinking about what their plan is going to be for visitation, for outings, for other things that they're doing. Although I don't think it's sustainable for us to stay locked down for the extended period of time, it is important that agencies are thinking about how do you educate your clients, the people that you serve, on safety measures, social distancing, wearing masks, washing their hands. All of these things are really important if they're going to re-engage. And so we need to be teaching them to do these things and being safer. We also have to really work with our staff. I think this has been really important. And DIDD has, just like a lot of the rest of the state, has seen an increase in cases recently. And it's very, very important that we're working with our staff on being safe when they go into community settings. When they do this off hours, we don't want to get in people's business too much, but this really does have an impact on our folks that we serve. And so I just want to encourage people to really still be thinking a lot about this. And please join us for the Clinical Consultation Network next week at 12:30. Carol.
Thank you very much, Dr. Davis. And we are running out of time. So I will just make a couple of quick points before I turn it back over to Commissioner Turner. The first is that we have, for the IDD integration, we do have a web page on our website that I hope you all can see right now. I am sharing it. And you will see that we have some information about it. The joint letter you all received is on there. The concept paper is on there, as well as the frequently asked questions. And we will be updating this site as we get more information and as we provide more information. Also, as I said, this is not the only opportunity to ask questions. Of course, we will continue to have weekly office hours on Wednesdays. This was just a special office hours for this week. So we will continue to have office hours on Wednesdays where, of course, you can ask questions. We are preparing a presentation to go over this jointly with TennCare. So there will be opportunities to learn more and also be able to ask questions. And then, like I mentioned, we are committed to hearing what you have to say. And so we want to we will provide a form stack to get some comments. We didn't come to you, as we said, we don't have all the answers right now. We didn't come to you with a completely designed program. And the reason we didn't do that is because we really want to hear what you all have to think and how we can truly move forward on the values we all share of independence, integration, and employment, and making sure that people we support have the greatest outcomes possible. So with that, you'll see some of that stuff coming out in the next day or two, couple of days. I keep forgetting it's a Friday. So, so keep an eye out for that. We will continue to communicate with you. And with that, I will turn it over to Commissioner Turner.
Thank you, Karen. And you said everything perfectly that I was going to share. You know, this is not going to be the last time that we're going to be able to talk about this stuff. And we certainly want you to continue to engage us in submitting your questions or contributing through the chat window as we're having these conversations, because this is going to be a long-term approach, obviously. We're at the very, very, very beginning of what this is going to look like. And as you've read the letters that was submitted, I want to thank Director Smith and Patty Killingsworth and some of the other folks at TennCare who have partnered with us on this, because all of our vision is the same, and that's to continue to improve the quality of the services that we deliver together. And we know that you're engaged in that same mission, and that's the point of all of this, is figuring out ways to continue to develop world-class service for the people that we care about the most. So as we continue to navigate what's going to be very challenging and going to be a very heavy lift, I ask that you continue to be patient with us. If we don't have the answers, understand that we're certainly working to try to make sure we get the answers. But at the end of the day, we're very excited about the system that we're going to be able to deliver to you, because we feel like it's going to be one of a kind in the country, and it's going to be a model for others to follow. So thank you again for your partnership. Thank you again for what you do every day. Please extend my best to your DSPs and those who are on the front lines that are working hard to continue to provide supports in the middle of a global pandemic. I have not forgotten about them. TennCare has not forgotten about them. We talk about how important they are, and we certainly want to make sure that they know that we appreciate the efforts that they're putting forth to make sure that they continue to serve the people that they care about and that they build a relationship with. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye and hope everyone has a great weekend, and we will talk to you again. Take care.
Have a great weekend, and we will see all of y'all on Wednesday. So looking forward to it at that time. Bye.